The Remington rifle shook in Hank Thompson's calloused hands as he peered through the frosted window at the woman who'd warmed his bed for 10 stormy nights. Sarah Valdez knelt in the drifting snow outside his remote cabin, her chestnut hair cascading over her exposed shoulders, her olive skin shimmering with melting flakes. In her slender fingers, she clutched a faded tintype of the man Hank had gunned down 4 years back. "I rode here to end you, Hank Thompson," she murmured, her voice cracking like brittle pine in the Colorado chill. But now, the gale screamed through the Rocky Mountains, thick with the tang of powder and remorse. Hank's finger tensed on the trigger. This enigmatic, fiery woman had tricked him, exploited his solitude, and reignited a spark in his 62-year-old soul when he'd long since interred his passions with the ghosts of his past. Yet Sarah's sobs rang true. The way her form had quivered against his wasn't an act. And now, 7 hardened riders thundered through the blizzard, hell-bent on slaughtering them both. What unfolds when passion turns lethal, when history exacts a toll from the spirit? Buckle into his tale of forbidden desire and bloody reckoning will sear your thoughts. Hank had been chopping logs when the nor'easter slammed into the Colorado territory that bitter January of 1892. 40 years as a U.S. Marshal, and then a bounty hunter had honed his instincts to sniff out trouble like a hound on a scent whether or men. Both could bury you if you dropped your guard. His cabin perched 60 miles from Denver, backed against jagged peaks that deflected the fiercest gusts. Hank had picked this forsaken spot after too many phantoms invaded his dreams. Out here, only his horses and the echoes of regrets kept vigil. Then came the drumming of hooves slicing the tempest. She materialized like a specter from delirium, a woman draped over a bay mare's neck, her long hair lashing wildly. Her lips parted in a gasp, and she tumbled into the powder, lifeless. Hank paused. Decades pursuing desperados had etched paranoia into his marrow. Stunning women often masked the vilest traps. But her skin was turning blue, her breaths feeble. Blizzard or not, she'd be gone in minutes. He hauled her indoors. Her attire spun yarns. A silk blouse under a rancher's duster, sturdy riding boots polished to a sheen. No ordinary drifter wore such finery, yet her palms bore roughened patches from toil puzzles cloaked in unconscious allure. Hank stoked the hearth, brewed tar-black coffee. When he pivoted, hazel eyes fixed on him, Scottish flecks in a Latin visage, guarded as a trapped coyote. "Where am I?" Her tone hinted at Arizona drawl, melodic and deep. "My spread. You damn near froze solid." Hank stayed back, offering the mug like a truce flag. "Name's Hank." "Sarah," she replied, their fingertips grazing. Even chilled to the bone, her contact jolted him like a branding iron on hide. She claimed she'd been heading to Boulder for a teaching post. Her patron in Tucson had gone bust. Fibs flowed smooth from most tongues, but Sarah faltered just enough for Hank to note it. Her blouse rivaled a miner's yearly wage. Her English too polished for a schoolmarm. But the squall trapped them for 4 days, forging uneasy alliance. Sarah pulled her weight, baking biscuits, patching gear, tending his few steers. She glided with innate poise, whether flipping flapjacks or forking hay. And when she figured he wasn't watching, Hank spied her appraising him with a gaze that quickened his blood. "You've taken lives," she observed on the 4th evening, firelight dancing on the gash across his right brow. "Some. How many?" Hank pondered his seat. 27. Sarah inclined her head. "Any regrets?" "Every single one." The candor startled him. He seldom confessed it aloud. She inched nearer on the rough-hewn bench, her arm brushing his. "What if they earned it?" "Nobody earns dying, miss. Sometimes it's just the way the cards fall, even if they wrecked homes, orphaned kids." Her words carried anguish colder than the drifts outside. Hank faced her silhouette. "Sounds like you know it firsthand." Sarah's features hardened. "Everything hits home in these parts." That night, they mended barn damage from the gale, laboring shoulder to shoulder. Hank couldn't help eyeing the swing of her hips, the arch of her throat as she stooped. 40 years her senior and scarred as sin, he had no right to such notions. But when Sarah's eyes locked on his in the lantern glow, he mirrored her Hanyera perilous, unthinkable craving that rattled him more than his debut showdown. "Hank," she breathed, and the sound of his name on her tongue nearly shattered his restraint. "Best hit the hay. Storm could lift come dawn." Sarah scrutinized him. "What if I pray it doesn't?" The query lingered like gunsmoke. Hank wrenched away, but her grip seized his sleeve, scorching through wool. "I'm done with charades." He glanced back. She closed the gap, her exhalations fogging the air. Up close, he tallied the amber specks in her hazel orbs, the smattering of sunspots on her cheeks. Her mouth parted. "You don't grasp what you're stirring." "I grasp it fine," she whispered. "Question is, are you too yellow to seize it?" Hank Thompson had stared down Comanche raids and border outlaws, but Sarah Valdez unnerved him like Lead never could. On the 10th night of their seclusion, she perched so near her leg pressed his, her rosewater aroma muddling his wits. "Tell me about her," Sarah urged, fingertips skimming his scar. "Who?" "The one who carved this not the blade. The gal who made you fear affection." Her caress trailed his stubble. "Don't." "Why? 'Cause I'm too green? Too risky? Or 'cause you crave me too fiercely?" The flames popped. Winds wailed through aspens. Hank should have withdrawn, but her digits laced with his velvet against grit, vitality against weariness. "There was one," he conceded. "Ages ago. She perished 'cause my enemies tail me home. I'm not her." Hank examined Sarah's countenance, the defiant jut of her chin, how fire gilded her complexion. "No, you're a breed apart." Sarah leaned in, her breath heating his collar. "What breed?" He couldn't articulate, couldn't reason beyond how her blouse hugged contours that revived his youth. When she brushed her lips to his jugular, his barriers collapsed. "Sarah," he rasped, "touch me." She implored against his flesh. "Please." His palms encircled her waist, encompassing the slim taper. She was blaze and satin under his grasp, all he'd forsaken desiring. As she straddled him, her skirt hiking up her thighs, Hank surrendered utterly. Their inaugural kiss savored of whiskey and frenzy. Sarah's hands knotted in his graying locks, drawing him deeper. She rocked against him with fervor equaling his. For decades of isolation melted into craving. Hank bore her to his bunk, palms worshipful on her heated form. She was exquisite in ways that stole air-lithe limbs entwining him, spine bowing as he revered every curve with mouth and hands. Her hushed moans reverberated off timber walls, a melody surpassing any saloon tune. They coupled with the fervor of the condemned, chasing absolution. Sarah yielded wholly, reserving naught, and Hank Lord forgive him claimed it all, imprinting her until she shuddered, invoking his name like benediction. Afterward, she nestled on his chest, outlining scars tenderly. "I could linger eternally," she sighed. "You merit finer than a washed-up marshal." "You're not washed up," Sarah retorted, hazel eyes blazing. "You're the toughest soul I've met." Hank yearned to trust her. For 10 idyllic days, he nearly did. Then Sarah erred. She abandoned her saddlebags near the threshold while watering the mounts. Hank wasn't one to rifle a lady's effects, save that 27 corpses had drilled survival over etiquette. Inside, amid extra garb and bullets, he unearthed Ida tintype of a youthful Mexican buck, dashing and bold, with Sarah's identical defiant jaw. Carlos Valdez. Hank's veins iced. For years prior, near Santa Fe, Carlos Valdez had pilfered livestock from spreads afar. When Hank cornered him, the kid was quick draw, but not quick enough. Sarah was Carlos Valdez's sibling. She'd come for vengeance. Upon her return, frost flecking her tresses, Hank awaited with the image. Sarah halted in the entry, paling then stealing. "You know." "I know." His timbre rang hollow. How long till you struck? Sarah shut the portal against the squall. I aimed to from the start. What halted you? Tears gleamed in her hazels. You. How you gazed at me like treasure, not threat. How you cradled me like I'd vanish. She advanced, palms extended. Hank, this is genuine. I love you. Love. Hank barked mirthlessly. You scarcely know me. I know you rescued me from the freeze. You're kind to lame beasts and recite verses when alone. You make me feel secure like never before. Her voice fractured. Slaying you would shatter my essence. Before Hank could retort, steeds pounded the yard. 7 gunmen encircled the shack, irons gleaming. Raul Garcia's bellow pierced the gale. Sarah, send out the bastard who dropped our Carlos, or we torch you both. Hank snatched his rifle. Seems your kin tracked us. Sarah clutched his forearm. Then no kin now. You are. Raul Garcia had dogged them across 250 miles of Colorado winter, fueled by clan bonds and vendetta vows. Hank knew the snarl Carlos Valdez's uncle, nastier than a sidewinder and thrice as venomous. You got a minute, Sarah? Raul roared from adrift. Then we unleash hell. Hank primed his arsenal. Remington, Peacemaker, and a double barrel under the mattress. 7 versus 2, but the hut afforded solid defense and tight kill zones. They'll execute you if I yield, Sarah hissed, chambering rounds into Hank's backup with expert ease. They'll do us both regardless. Hank manned the front pane. Raul ain't merciful. How'd you cross him? Bumped him in New Mexico. He rustled with your brother. Sarah's mouth firmed. Carlos wasn't rustling when you plugged him. You slew an innocent defending his clan's turf. The accusation struck Hank like a slug. He'd been fed Carlos Valdez was a thief bounty papers, testimonies. But eyeing Sarah, Hank sensed a setup. Someone engineered Carlos's demise via Hank's trigger. Sarah, Raul neared. Your Yankee killer plugged Carlos cold. Shot him square in the spine like a craven. Liar. Hank growled, doubt seeping. Is it? Sarah's gaze probed. Were you there? Did Carlos draw first? Hank strained to recall the skirmish blurred. Carlos pivoting, Hank blasting on reflex. But was the lad holstering or submitting? The initial round splintered the sash. Hank countered, dropping one of Raul's crew into the white. Sarah shifted to the rear. 3 down, she yelled. 4 to go. Shots riddled the walls. Hank detected boots, overhead someone chimney diving. He seized the scattergun, blasting upward. A corpse thudded into the embers, sparking logs across planks. Sarah, Raul's plea turned frantic. He's exploiting you. Hank Thompson slays for coin, don't give a damn. He gave enough to spare me. Sarah volleyed, snapping at flashes amid pines. More than you. Hank aided her, but agony erupted in his chest. Raul's lead-pierced lung. Blood drenched his shirt. His vision swam. Sarah witnessed his falter. Hank, he wheezed, keep firing. Switching hands, he felt 2 chargers at the door. Raul loomed at the breach, Peacemaker leveled. Should have stayed retired, law dog. The revolver boomed. Hank felt the impact hurl him rearward. Legs buckled. He slumped, crimson frothing his lips. Sarah's wail was primal fury, freezing Hank's marrow. She whirled, rifle arcing to Raul. The thug reloaded, smug in victory. Wrong. Sarah's slug drilled his gut, twisting him down. She cycled the action, emptying the magazine clicks persisting amid her sobs. Hank, he croaked. She flung the gun, scrambling to him. Blood pooled. His gasps labored. Don't you quit on me, she wept, staunching the hole. Not now I've found you. Hank mustered a grin. Reckon we're square. Pow! Your Keeney recall. He grabbed his sombrero, not iron. I downed a blameless man. Eyes dimming. Sorry, Sarah. So damn sorry. She kissed his brow. I forgive you. Carlos would too. He never sought this. For 8 weeks, Sarah tended Hank from the brink. She dressed wounds, spooned stew when he weakened, soothed his fevered rants of slain specters. Gradually he mended, but as vigor returned, so did harsh truths. He was too ancient, too perilous, too fractured for a gem like Sarah. She warranted prospects, not his shadows. The dawn he could rise unaided, he voiced the gut-wrenching call, "You got a ride on." Sarah Valdez departed Hank Thompson's world on a morn when flurries fell gentle as laments. She'd pleaded, vowing age and repute meant zilch. But Hank stood firm, heart fracturing with each syllable. "You're 26, he'd argued. I'm pushing 63. What future's that? The sole one I crave. Today perhaps, but tomorrow? When you pine for young uns, a steady hearth, of Felisand's night terrors." Sarah battled with love's arsenal, but Hank's resolve held. He'd ruined enough in his span to spare her. He observed from the stoop as she dwindled in the snowscape. She glanced once, waving farewell. Hank reciprocated, then barricaded inside for a week. 12 years elapsed. Hank traded horses for a homestead near Colorado Springs. Nightmares ebbed. He slumbered sans sidearm. Townsfolk esteemed the ex-marshal who aided with ailing stock and busted rails. He never wed, never bedded another. Some flames scorched so vivid, they eclipsed the rest. A spring morn's hoofbeats no longer jarred him. Hank lifted from fence repairs to behold a woman alighting a sorrel gelding. She strode with known elegance now, 38, beauty honed by seasons, her hazel eyes deeper with earned insight. "Still recall me, Hank?" Sarah queried. He froze, then beamed. Every sunrise. They embraced, years dissolving. Sarah had wed briefly, born a son, but widowed young. She'd never forgotten him. Hank confessed the same. They wed that summer, forging a life of quiet joy-ranching together, raising her boy as his. No more solitude, only shared sunsets and mended hearts. Love, when true, endures the tempests. What do you think of this tale of age-defying passion, betrayal, and redemption? Share your opinions in the comments below. Do you side with Hank's initial doubts about their age gap or Sarah's fierce pursuit? Was justice served in the shootout, or should vengeance have prevailed? Let me know your stance and why. I'd love to hear your views.